Hello, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita, and I'm joined by my co-host Nick Barr. We were talking the Chicago Bulls today. We're talking the Bulls. We have a little breakdown of the Bulls Jazz. Bulls win again. Are the Bulls back? We discuss. Also, we discuss Chandler Parsons being a big old dummy face. He was talking his ish about DeMar, and we will tell you everything he said and why he is not to be trusted, as well as our final topic, Billy Donovan extended. Do we agree? Do we disagree? What should the Bulls have done? Is this good, bad? You name it. We talk about it all. Probably we haven't done it yet, but I'm sure we will. So, first topic, the Chicago Bulls beat the Utah Jazz. They moved to 9-11 on the season. It was I'll start this off real quick. It was one of those nut up wins. I don't even know how to say that, but truly just, I mean, I was ready to turn it off with, what Lauri going on and everything. And Nick, I know you'll touch on more of it, but they showed some heart and I really appreciated it. So
Yep.
what do you have on the game?
Yeah, dude. I was pumped more on the defensive side of things, like because Tony, I might have said this before, but it feels to me, okay, I could be wrong, and maybe you could look at the stats, comb through, and find that I'm wrong, but it feels like we need to in order to win a game, okay, on any given night, we typically, it seems like, need to play like top 5 defensive rating basketball, like top 5 defensive team. Because I do think that is our potential. I mean, I think we are even like top 3 potential, right? When Caruso's on all cylinders, when we're healthy, when Lonzo's there. I mean, that's a defensive team right there. So I was most impressed with that, taking advantage of the turnovers. We love that. I mean, nothing gets you going like a fast break, right? And we even have turned out to be the X factor, Tony, Kobe White. Who knew? A guy, a point of contention, right? He is in the fan base. Kind of around the league, it seems to be known that the Bulls are, always kind of down to shop him around. So Kobe White trying to earn his stripes, man. He provided the 3-point, surge that we needed. That's a big thing that we're missing on this team, Tony, as we know. We'll talk about that a little later with Billy. But can he keep this up? That's the question. But Kobe, great performance, clutch threes. It's exactly what this team needs, kind of that missing piece. And now, of course, we don't know how consistent he can be with that. But if he can be like a 15 a night guy, 12 a night guy, that would do some wonders for our team, because I think a lot of other pieces are there, right? We just need to see it on a night-to-night basis. So DeMar, 26 and 6 assists. Zach had 20 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, and then Vooch with the double-double with 16 and 10. And then, Tony, I want to stay positive here, right? But I do want to mention that it just so happens Patrick Williams only had 5 points. Now, the reason why that pisses me off slightly is because that 5-point performance came merely a day or two after Patrick Williams was quoted in an NBC Sports article talking about how he thinks he can still be a superstar. Now, we're optimistic. We remain optimistic. We're Patrick Williams guys. I just find it funny that he had an absolutely atrocious performance after saying he deserves at least us saying that he has potential superstardom in him. Now, I don't want to reward him that title yet, especially after that night. But that's the only negative thing I will say. Huge Bulls win, Tony. What do you got other than our Lauri Markkanen fella that gave us some troubles?
Yeah, I got three main takeaways. First one being Andre Drummond is just the greatest.
Beast.
His PER, or no, sorry, not PER. His per 48 until I think he played 2 extra minutes at the end of the game. We're not counting that. We're counting 12 minutes of his action. He played 14 total. His PR for per 48. Everyone, there's too many basketball stats. They per 48. Per 48 for those 12 minutes. Was 40 points, 40 rebounds. He ended the night 10 points, 10 rebounds. So double machine in 12 minutes, basically in a quarter. That was awesome. He just looked like a monster out there too. And his points were big when they came. He had the one putback on when Kobe. So I'll kind of talk about Kobe White too at the same time. That was my second little topic I wanted to hit on. And I think it was Kobe was going. I guess we can call it off. I think he was going off. I think
He was going slightly off. Indeed.
Yeah.
For him especially. Yes.
Yeah. But he had one of the. I think he had hit a three. He had a little defensive save, from ball going out of bounds, whatever it was, and then he comes down for a layup, just toss it right over the bucket. But Andre Drummond happened to be there, so I'm willing to call it an alley-oop. But he threw that down with such a ferocity, and it just looked like he liked being here. He liked playing basketball for the Chicago Bulls, and that made me happy. He's shown that all year, and we're a different team when he's in versus when he's out. We've definitely seen that, I think, this year. So there was my Andre Drummond talk. Kobe White, to finish up on him. I was saying, he was, like I said, diving on the floor for loose balls, poking balls out. He was hitting threes. He was making, he was driving to the hoop. He had a couple oopsie plays for sure. I know he had 2 3-pointers banged in his eye on back-to-back possessions. Then came back and hit a 3, so he was -3 on those 3 total possessions. But overall, that's where I was like, I may have called this way too soon. But he ended up doing well. Very happy with that. Now, can he do it again? One more time in a row. Minimum one more time in a row.
Yeah.
That's where we'll start. As whatever that baseball movie is. 2 is a winning streak. 2 is a pattern. That's what we need out of him. And finally, the last topic of this game for me is Lauri Markkanen tried his best. He truly did. 32 points. I mean, Casey Johnson was losing his mind on Twitter over Lauri Markkanen's shooting performance, and rightfully so. He was just banging the lights out, at least for the first half, for sure. And he still continued to just no one else did except Kelly Olynyk on his team. So
yeah, wild. Those 2 trees, those 2 white trees, those white crusty trees, just demolishing us.
It was crazy. Yeah. So Lauri, I will say I was, we mentioned Patrick Williams as well earlier. It was kind of interesting to see a almost called dominant offensive power forward that, hey, maybe the Bulls should go after. I was thinking that's a guy maybe we could use. However, we saw down the stretch, he couldn't pull it off. He couldn't seal the deal. So maybe the Bulls made the right decision in the end. We'll let you guys fight that one out in the comments if you want. So
yeah, fight it out. Lauri was 12 for 18, 7 for 11 from 3. Patrick Williams was 1 for 4, 1 for 2 from 3. 50% from 3 though. So Lauri actually shot over 50%. Never mind. I thought we had him there.
Patrick Williams, I think when he hit that 3, I think it was right after Lauri Markkanen hit a 3, and I tweeted something out like, never mind, Patrick Williams, superstar. And 2 free throws, I think he hit the rest of the game. It must have been. So
great tweet.
Yeah, that was. No, I'm sure it'll work out. As we know,
totally.
Now people are going to be chirping on Twitter, chirping online, chirping on the internet. Hey, you should have had Lauri. You should have done this. Should have done that. These guys aren't as good as you thought. These guys are better, than you thought. Whatever it is. Speaking of, that brings us to topic 2 here. Yes, Chandler Parsons is dumb. That is the topic name. Chandler Parsons says our favorite player, I think, right now on the team, arguably him and Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, is not a top 15 player, and that he's more in the top 30 to 40 player range. Okay. Nick, I'll let you go first, and then I'll say my piece. I don't think I can name 30 players that are almost as good as DeMar. Not even like better than DeMar, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as you, and I don't know if that's just because we're stupid or if Chandler Parsons is just stupid. And I think it's the latter, Tony. I think it's the latter. I used to really like Chandler Parsons actually in high school, probably just because he played professionally and he was of my ethnicity. So I said, oh, look at that, right? But no other ties to that guy whatsoever. And now I know I absolutely hate the guy. Yeah, he went on some FanDuel show that Michelle Beadle has. Shout out Michelle Beadle, she rules. I just don't remember the name of the show, so I can't shout it out. Sorry. Went on some show, and it was basically they were asking him. So it was one of those like, they make a statement, the producers make a statement, and then the guests on the show say if it's right or wrong, basically. And the producer statement was DeMar DeRozan is a top 15 NBA player. And Chandler not only said no, but he took it to the extent of saying like he's barely top 40. He even said that he could go around and pick on every team except for, I believe he said, the Magic, Rockets, and one other really bad team. But he said he could go around to every other NBA team and find at least one player better than DeMar DeRozan outside of those three. And I thought to myself for a second, I thought, well, maybe he's right. And then I thought, no, this guy's a fucking idiot. DeMar's averaging 26 a game, which would put him at 12th right now overall, if we're just looking at scoring, right?
Mhm.
And now you throw in efficiency in there too, which I think definitely factors into your star status. And he's shooting at a 51% clip. So I think he's just trying to have a hot take, maybe. He's trying to get that post-career going. So, I mean, all power to Chandler Parsons for getting your career going in the media space, but just know that you're completely wrong on that.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
asinine.
it's definitely, he's got to come in hot. I understand because he really flamed out after that historic contract he signed with the Rockets, or historic bust contract, however you want to
Worthless.
classify it.
Sure.
And those are definitely a string of words people use. Yeah, I mean, it's wrong. It just is not correct. I don't know. Maybe there's a super specific metric or stat that we're not looking at because we're not super smart like that. I guess maybe Chandler Parsons, he played in the league. We can't argue with that, of course.
True. True.
Maybe they do have their special little stat that only they know about. But other than that, there is no argument. If you want to say he's 20th, and it's make certain arguments for certain guys, the playing style, yes, he only shoots mid range, whatever. I'll at least entertain the argument. I'll argue back, but I'll entertain the argument.
Yeah.
Saying he's in the 30 to 40 range, it's just not accurate. I disagree with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, and of course, we don't have the stats to necessarily back this up, but in his 30 to 40 and his top 30 to 40, let's just take a look inside Chandler's mind. So he's got a little graph, right, of 30 to 40. Who the hell in there is scoring 26 points a game right now? There's no chance. Like I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense. I respect what he said. Again, I respect the hot take, especially taking it one step further and just being like, I'll pick out a bunch of players right now, Michelle Beadle, if you let me, and I will tell you each one is better than DeMar DeRozan. If they had more time on the segment, the guy was ready to go in. He's like, of course, nothing against him. So, hey, maybe there's some sort of, like you said, some inter NBA thing going on that we don't know about, whether it's a little erroneous stat or maybe they had beef. Who knows? But crazy.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at his contracts right now. 3 years, 46 million. With the
Rob, was that Mavericks?
Mavericks,
Yeah.
yes. Sorry, that logo is tiny. And then 2016 to 2019, 4 years, 94 million with the Grizzlies.
Yeah,
And
that's like it was Grizzlies. Yeah, that
yeah,
that is
was
like
the one.
highly touted as one of the
Yeah.
worst contracts in NBA history.
Hand up, Nick gave me the wrong information. He quickly said Rockets before the show.
I did.
Also, the one thing I didn't, when we did talk about it pre-show, I didn't know he said I could pick a player from every team, whatever.
I forgot about that part.
I didn't know that. That is
Wild.
DeMar's the best player on the court in every game. Like, obviously, okay, the Bucks, Giannis is going to be better. Oh, I don't think so.
Jason Tatum's better.
Yeah, so there are obviously the exceptions. I'm not going to get crazy here and be like number one in the league easily, no doubt. Just is what it is. But I mean, better than every player on the Jazz. I'll tell you that. Like we saw last night.
Yeah,
better than every player on the Magic when we played the Magic. Like we don't have the time to go through every team. He's dumb.
No.
I think. Nick, if you got any final comments on this, you can say on
yeah.
that.
Okay. Well, in Chandler's defense, he did say except for the Magic and Rockets.
Oh.
But to your point, the Jazz.
Yeah.
Who the fuck? What? Who's better than DeMar DeRozan on the Jazz? That's crazy. Yeah. I don't know if he thought that through much. Just like maybe we didn't think this through enough. But fuck that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of what some people may consider a bad contract extension, even the Bulls extended Billy Donovan. So they did it this past summer, and they just announced the news yesterday.
Yeah.
Don't know exactly for how long. It was kind of a funny tweet from Shams. He's basically like, yeah, it sounds like he's going to have at least a few more years tacked onto his
Yeah.
4-year contract. Like, you're Shams. How do you not know this? But
Right.
I don't know how they held it this long, but we can talk about that in a moment. He is in the third year of his current contract. Nick, you brought up a great point about the specific timing that they chose to drop it. I don't know if you want to start with that or you have something else
Yeah.
you want to start with.
Yeah, I mean, hey, let's just pretend that this was like a genius PR move by Billy, and then maybe he'll uncover some coaching prowess as well. No, he's a solid. He's fine. He dropped, or the Bulls dropped this news after a big win versus the Jazz, when two weeks prior we were on a 4-game losing streak, and we were about ready to put Billy on the hot seat. So shouts out to them for not dropping this news back then, because even now dropping it, they're still getting a ton of feedback, and
We beat the Bucks and
mostly
the
it's
Celtics in the
negative.
last week
Yeah,
and a half.
yeah.
Like that's a big week and a half for the Bulls, I will say. Yeah.
Genius move for them to
Mhm.
drop this now. But I don't think you've got us completely fooled. I think we're all kind of skeptical of not like, I mean, you'll get some hardos out there that just are like, fire him now, which I haven't even entertained that opinion yet to hear their reasoning for it, because it's just weirdos, I'm assuming. But to their point, I mean, it's not like he has really stood out. He's like, I think he's like 3 games under 500 for his total record at the Bulls. So not great. Obviously, you know, we turned some things around, signed some big players. Now, Tony, here's one thing I do have kind of an issue with, and that's that we got to remember that Billy is not he's not paying these players to come play for the Bulls. And he's also not injuring our players,
Yeah.
at least not to my knowledge.
Mhm.
So we do have to remember that that AK, right, AK needs to take the brunt of the questions surrounding our roster issues.
Mhm.
Now, if you think that it's the way Billy's playing our guys, then that's one thing. I'll hear you out. Now, my thing is that we're just kind of missing 3-point shooting, and that's kind of it. So how's he going to fix that? I don't know. Maybe I'm being ignorant. Maybe Billy needs to step up. I'm just pretty indifferent about Billy as a whole. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's that great. But I mean, if we're looking to grow and we're looking to win a championship, which that's the whole point of this, I don't know if he's the guy. So kind of feel weird about this. I would have maybe liked to have the option to shop around, but now we're stuck with Billy for a little bit more. We don't know how many years, but sounds like at least 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 more years with Billy D.
Yeah, it is crazy that this lasted until what is it? December, before anyone
Even
find out,
Shams
or they
doesn't
finally
know.
told him. They
Yeah,
must have told him. That's the only way. How did people not know
yeah,
this? I don't know how nobody figured it out. That's just impressive. I will say, like you gotta tip your cap to
you got to tip your
everything.
cap a little
Every little thing leaks about everything
about
in the
everything.
world, not even just basketball, just in the world. So
Just yeah,
it's crazy that worked out that way. But yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, yeah. I guess it's kind of a I don't know if fallacy is the right word here, but me right now thinking, well, what's our upgrade now? It's mid-season. It's like, well, you could have done something at the end of last season. That is probably the true way to look at it. They've kind of boxed us in here, like, well, yeah, I guess
yeah,
guess it
yeah.
works out now that it's mid-season. We're ready to go. There's no,
Just beat some really good
yeah,
teams.
there's no
Still
just
9 and
like
11.
yeah, there's no crazy coach available that I'm begging for. There's no
True,
college coach available. Like, but yeah,
true.
no, it was a very smart move by them. I do think releasing it now. It sounds like us Bulls fans are smart enough to kind of see through what they're doing here, and not just being like,
Yeah,
oh wow, okay, yeah, we just won, great,
yeah,
what to know since they
yeah.
announced it, yeah.
No,
So
I'd say it's more 80% people seeing absolute blood red mad about it, and 20% being like,
yeah, I'm definitely not
and
mad
not
about
really
it.
any in between. I'm
Yeah,
not either.
I get it. I'm really with you on the roster construction aspect being the injuries being the bigger reason. I know that's just making excuses for him, but I mean, I don't know what you want, man. Lonzo can't walk. He's an awesome point guard. Don't forget how good Lonzo is. And I know it
Yeah,
stinks to say it, but it's not my fault he's not back yet. I have to keep saying it until he's back, or something, God forbid, he doesn't come back, and then we can, then we worry about that situation. But
for sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, Billy, we're happy to have you, brother. We have no choice, so let's ride.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell, we are ecstatic about having Billy. And I should probably throw up the little graphic there, the final banner. Nick, do you have any final comments here before we log off?
All I got, man, is I'm genuinely excited right now. The last episode we recorded before this was a couple weeks ago. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. We did. And we feel better now as Bulls fans, which is more important than spending time with your family, of course.
Yep.
So I'm happy to be a Bulls fan right now. I'm optimistic. Still 9-11. I still don't think we're gonna win a championship this year or the next 2 years. Other than that, I feel fantastic. See red.
Yeah. I have one. What just popped in my head? One final question. We'll get out of here. We're going a little too long already. If anyone's still listening, thank you. The Bulls lost to the Thunder around, what was that, Saturday night? Do you think the Bulls wanted to drop the news that night because they had just beaten the Celtics, they had just beaten the Bucks, they would have beat Billy Donovan's former team, and we freaking lose to the Thunder?
That I hope that's true, because that's very funny. Just to like picture them just like pushing papers, just like, oh, fuck.
Jerry Reinsdorf, just deleting the tweet on his text on his phone to Shams, ripping up a piece of paper. He's furious in the back office. I can't hold this secret anymore. But yeah, that's just something to think about. Who knows? I'm so interested about that. The news breaking, leaking, sourcing, sometimes on purpose, sometimes on accident. All that stuff is very interesting. So still crazy that it didn't make its way out earlier than yesterday. So but with that, that'll do it for this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita. Thank you again to my co-host Nick Barr. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Till next time, Bulls fans, keep seeing red.